Hello. Yes, you are the first. Welcome. How are you doing? Hope you're having a nice day today. I am not doing the usual, as you'll probably uh, have seen by the title. Um, I need to mute websites. But don't need any of that. Doing okay, working on adding an in-game feedback from or form to Little Chef. Fair enough. In-game though, why not just use a like an online form site and link it? Wouldn't that also be an option? I'm sure in-game also has its upsides, but is there not more work? As for me, I actually need to compile a list of stuff that I could slash should be working on. Um, so I'm still kind of gathering myself here, but I do have a couple of things already in mind. Let me actually write the list on stream as well, so it's there for everyone to see. The text. Uh, um, avatar overlay. Kindling viewer avatars. Emotes. Channel points. Um, overlay. Let's see, what else do I need? The reason my typing is a little bit awkward is because I have a drawing tablet in front of me, so I'm not able to reach my keyboard the regular way. Um, let's put it here, so whatever color it may be should be good. Actually, can I have a drop shadow or something? Oh, yes, I can have an outline. Okay. 1 second. I'll read what you said a second ago. Okay, how does this look? Nope, that's not dark enough. Oh no. Don't do any of that, please. Fair enough. That'll have to do for now. I also noticed that chat is also not very visible if the background is white. Now, usually the background is never white or pure white. And I do have a gradient behind it, but maybe that'll be solved if I just have an overlay anyway. Anyway, we can, but in-game seems like more people would use it, and I can automatically add game logs in case of bugs. Fair enough. Nice. Makes sense. Okay. So, the list is not specifically ordered, though there is probably an order in which I should be tackling these things. I don't care for the song. I just have random background music right now. Coming up with an avatar first would probably be good, but I think I'm gonna actually immediately think about the overlay as well, because I did some work already, a little bit of sketching and ideating for things that I didn't do like publicly and visible for everyone, but can have to see. What is this music? Uh, one moment. I don't know if this is any better. Anyway. Um, Why a new avatar? I like the current one. Only recently noticed the triangles aren't actually interlocking and you can just pull them apart. Um, oh, the current one. You mean the logo that I have? One moment. This doesn't open the pop-up window, does it? No. No, they are. For example, I will show you the emote version that I did of the logo, the dire heart, the emote that I made, or the PNG export version of it. So usually the original is the Voten knot. This one. Usually just straight up triangular, like a Nordic thing. Um, and the logo that I made is, or made, it's literally just that thing, but then with rounded outside edges or outside lines, I suppose, because I felt that a little bit more personal. I don't know. The fact that it fit into a round shape, then I liked, and I just kind of made it my own. I don't actually take any credit for the origin of the design, but anyway, so that's my thing. And then this is the most recent example, I guess, that I worked on, which is the heart version for an emote here on Twitch and also on my Discord. But no, they are interlocking. Um, as you'll be able to see, this one, the bottom right, I guess, triangle, if you want to call it that, um, can't be pulled out because it goes under the top one, but then over the bottom left one. Um, and I'm pretty sure you there's no physical way of separating them without breaking reality or something. That is, treating them as if they were physical like things, and I guess like bent a little bit. Otherwise, it would be all like crooked anyway. Um, but yeah, no, they are interlocked. Um, the meaning for this, if my memory serves me right, I don't go around looking that up every so often, but as far as I know, the Votan knot or Celtic knot, this one in particular, they have a lot of knots. Um, didn't have any one particular meaning that I think historians could agree on it having, if there even was a meaning to begin with, rather than just being a cool symbol. But one interpretation that I really liked for it, and the reason why it rung with me so much, was that each of the triangles, back then triangles, represented the past, present, and future, respectively, and how they're all like interconnected and influence each other and everything. That's why I originally like really liked it. And then I made my own spin on it, which is just turning the outside edges into a circle. That's my logo. Um, maybe I shouldn't be telling this. I don't really have a patent on it or anything. I'm not sure if that would even be like really be feasible because it's just such an old symbol anyway. But no, I just like the spin on it of having the rounded edges, so that's why I use everywhere on YouTube and the different platforms with the different colors. If you go on my link tree, which I'm pretty sure is on both YouTube and Twitch, probably, you'll see a list of like different colored versions of that. But no, that's not what I mean with Avatar. That's the logo I use and you know represent myself with, I suppose. But this is not like a character or like a personable thing. It doesn't really, this doesn't speak to anyone like an avatar would. Um, so what I would like on stream is a representation of like myself in some capacity. Um, like if you imagine the stream as like the usual thing right now, um, then this avatar would be somewhere on stream and ideally would be something that can express itself, like have eyes or, talk, have an open mouth or something like that. Not necessarily, not all features are required or anything, but I would like something there. And before you comment on it, if you were going to comment on it, yes, I did have my camera on a couple times in the past. I usually did at some point. But the fun thing is that I feel like streaming fairly often, but not every time that I feel like streaming, I feel like necessarily putting my face out there. And I would like to be consistent in some regards, at least. So I figured rather than, sometimes having a face cam on and sometimes not, if I don't feel like that, I can just have an avatar that I can have on at all times. And that's some more consistency and also recognizable and everything. Um, or like a VTuber, I was considering that. I'm not sure how much you know about the different types of avatars, but I think if you want to boil it down, there's VTubers and then there's PNG tubers. VTubers have like a whole rig, either 2D made out of many, many layered different images, or 3D with a model. That's fine. That's fine. As I said, there's VTubers, the one you said. That's usually full like rig, either upper body or full body. That's again many, many layers of images like overlaid on top of each other and like rigged, like actually rigged with different like animation uh like variables and all that. Or just a straight up 3D model, which is a little bit simpler in some ways, but still very extensive, and if you were to pay for it, expensive. The slightly simpler variant of that is a PNG tuber. PNG tuber is usually just one image, one image as the base, I want to say. Maybe two or three or a couple if there's more moving parts. And then there's a different variation with an open mouth and a different variation with open or closed eyes, which just lets it express itself like a little bit, but it's not on the same level as a VTuber because it's just different scales entirely. But yes, something along those lines. Nothing specifically about any level of feasibility I had in mind. Um, so let me actually, I guess, get into the collage that I had already kind of prepared. Um, Feel free to give your input if you have any. I do kind of want to just go with whatever I feel like I like the most because it's going to be something that represents me on the internet. But hey, um, so I had a couple of options, and if you want me to, I can run them by you right now. But there's a lot of VTubers and PNG tubers who have like themselves or a representation of themselves, which is like a human essentially. Nothing wrong with that. In fact, I considered that myself as well. I did have this. I did create this kind of abomination myself. This is my own handiwork, which doesn't have any shading on it, doesn't have anything. You don't need to comment on how corporate it looks. I know it looks very corporate, but because that's just the base layers. But yeah, I did create this thing. Um, I'm not sure if I like that. I don't think I do. Um, but then I also realized anyway that on the internet, I don't have to just be a regular person. I can also just look like or be whatever I want. So I thought of a couple of different things that I kind of like and was gonna and did already a little bit play around with different ideas with that. Um, One of the ones which is probably the hardest to make reality, especially for me with my skill set, would be a kind of like nebula space cloud kind of thing. Where if you've watched Arcane or just have seen nebulas, these are actually real photographs. Um, I think you get the gist of what this could be. Um, and the idea would then be that I am essentially a fucking space cloud nebula kind of thing with just some limited like facial features. There's a sketch which doesn't have any colors, so it doesn't really represent it well, but nope. There you go. Let me actually move that around here. Um, so that would be two of the ideas that I had for the positioning of the situation. But yeah. Then a different idea that I had. Maybe you'll know this one. This is actually the picture that I use on Discord, which is a different commission that had been done for me at some point. And my idea with that would possibly be that I don't necessarily use this necessarily itself, but that I have essentially a portrait kind of thing, like a painted portrait, magical painted portrait. You know, one of those that NVIDIA always like follow you around with their eyes. Um, like essentially leaned into the corner of the stream, where it almost pretends like it's physically there. It's like leaned at a little bit of an angle. The eyes could move, the mouth could move, and then I'd just be there. Um, and the third idea, I don't actually know in which order I had this, but oh yes, and then make the eyes move the cursor. If I have a cursor on screen, that could possibly be an option, but that would then include a little bit more, not necessarily programming, but it requires the functionality of whatever application I may use in the end, which I'm not sure if or which applications have that functionality, but neat idea. Um, and then one of the last ideas is dragons. I love dragons. Dragons are cool. Dragons are dope. So I thought about possibly just having a dragon in the corner of the screen in some variation. This isn't my artwork. It's just a reference. And the idea would be that there's a dragon. This would already lean more into overlay category, where there's actually like a whole border around the stream that the dragon interacts with as well. Here, the dragon will be kind of like leaning in, it will be just a head, much easier. Here, for example, it would be a little bit of a different scale, I suppose, but the dragon actually being fully on screen and kind of hanging. This would be not sure if it would be much better or worse, but it would be like smaller features to interact with, in the sense of the dragon head is smaller, so expressions are not going to be as immediately visible. If it was this one, for example, it would be very obvious because the head is like right here and it's very big. Um, Now, one thing that I think is important to note for any of these is these little guys here, which I had on stream a couple times. Well, I didn't have them on screen a couple times, but there was a picture like this one on stream, because I'm playing around with the idea of using, I think, Stream Avatars as an application. Stream Avatars is legit an application that's also, I think, on Steam or something similar, which allows viewers to basically have a little representation of themselves running around at the bottom of the screen. And since you in particular, I know, are aware of Penultimate, the idea is that they would be essentially one of the little like races of Penultimate that you would be able to play in the game and running around at the bottom. So like you could be any of the five, and then you and anyone else who's viewing is like running around at the bottom. The actual game has lots of options for what you could do with them, but I want to, you know, keep it simple for now with like them being able to run, and maybe I think there's functionality for your message to like pop out of that one then essentially. So if you were to comment your little kindling, I'm gonna call them right now, speaks essentially, not audibly but visually. um and I say this because I think that could play into the decision of which one I'm gonna go for. um in this one, it would be, oh, these guys are running around down here, and then the dragon would be essentially hanging off the wall, not really necessarily interacting with them like at a constant, but that'd be quote unquote me then. I'm doing a little quote sign with my fingers, but there's no camera on. and then the viewers are down here. Then of course maybe the position wouldn't actually change much. Of chat would maybe be still on the right over here, and whatever application I use, like be it the browser or a game or something that I'm playing, would be zoomed in a little bit, so it's not like half obscured by everything, just a little bit obscured. But yeah, that's a rough idea that I have. Here, the dragon would be essentially much bigger, much bigger, because if you pretend that these are little guys to scale here, then the dragon would be huge. Whereas here it's much more reasonable size. Not that it's like hugely important, by the way, but I do think it could affect it. Here it would be a little bit weird, because if this is just a portrait, why is this portrait so huge when the little guys are like tiny, like way smaller? Here, I could essentially do whatever I want as well, because it's like a space cloud kind of thing. So like it can be way bigger than a person, and they are way bigger than a person. Um, but yeah, that's kind of like thoughts that I've been playing with, which I'm not entirely sure on what I want to go for. So I got to figure that out. Um, Maybe make the portrait smaller then. I think in general you don't want to block too much of the screen. Well, I mean, if we were still on topic for the last one, let's see, where is it? If the portrait is like that small, then like again, like expression, the ability to express is like limited. People won't be even really be able to see what I'm gonna do or what I'm doing or what the portrait is doing rather. Um, and it would still be fairly big if you think of these as like people running around down here. Um, Whereas with the dragon or the space cloud, it's much more reasonable. But again, I guess it's not hugely important. Even now the nebula is blocking like 1/10 of the screen. Well, that's the thing. I could just make an overlay where that's not really an issue. Um, let's see. Let's take the dragon. Mm, oh, can I? No. Also, really sorry, but AFK for a couple minutes. Gonna eat something. No worries. No worries. If you're here, you're welcome. If not, then that's fine. Woo. What is this music? Let's check some real quick.
Yoink.
Why do you keep doing this? Stop it. What do I did that again?
Yoink.
I feel like not all of that is supposed to be visible. I'm gonna have to yoink some more.
Yoink.
Hmm. Hmm. What's going on here? I am working. Well, I'm quote unquote working. I'm looking at or for things to do with stream. I did go over a lot of it already, because for a minute ago, Crazy DVD was here. Know you love Crazy DVD. But I don't mind going over it again. So I have a little bit of a, I guess, task list of things I could slash should be doing for stream, and I want to look at some of them. I don't think I'm necessarily going to solve any of them, but feel free to give your input. Um, you are one of the more active people here, so you know. The the thing is, um, how loud is the music? I'm just gonna turn the music down a little bit for myself. Um, I have had a camera on a couple times on stream as well, especially more in the past, and I do have one that works fine. That's not a problem. But fewer times than I feel like streaming, I feel like actually showing myself on stream as well. Now, that isn't necessarily a problem, but I like to have, or would like to have, a little bit of consistency. And having like a camera on every so often, but then sometimes not, is, I don't think, ideal. So I'm thinking of possibly just going for the route of having some representation of myself, that I can just always have on screen. And then that's what people will also be able to recognize, and that's just like dire to them. Um, and that kind of goes hand in hand with the overlay part of the things to do, because that thing would always be on screen and possibly take up however much space on stream. Um, Nowadays, people who focus a lot more on the applications of what they're doing, being like games or art or whatever, a lot of people alternatively have very big avatars, and more important to them on stream is actually the interaction with people. So what they're doing at any given point matters a little bit less as well to their audience, so they don't mind having the application have less of a presence or be partially obstructed, even. I'm trying to figure out where I want to be on that spectrum, essentially. Well, Burnt Peanut, actually, ironically, while he has a lot of presence, that's more like character-wise, and not actually because he takes up a lot of screen, doesn't he? Um, Burnt Peanut. Um, I mean, I could just look it up on Twitch, I suppose. Peanut. Yeah. See, Burnt Peanut, even though his character is very recognizable and very, like, important, I guess, he really doesn't take a lot of screen space. And people like, fuck, I could name anyone really, like Penguin, the Charlie. Uh, People love him, but only has a small camera, and it doesn't actually take up a lot of screen, and it doesn't actually have a lot of like widgets or anything going on stream. It's a lot of just people watching him. Anyway, the point is, I'm not entirely sure where or what I want to do, but for the matter of me, maybe not always feeling like having a camera on, I was thinking of having a potential avatar of some kind, and I did try around with a couple things, like a fucking corporate nightmare of an avatar that could be like in the corner of the screen. But I then realized, on the internet I can essentially be whatever I want to be, and there's a lot of things cooler than just being human or pretending to be human. So I had a couple of ideas that I was fiddling around with a little bit. There would be the Space Cloud Nebula. If you've watched Arcane, you kind of know what this would be possibly go for. Mostly just like a face or something. Doesn't even need to have like a body, but something. This doesn't look very good, but it's just a pencil sketch essentially. I had the idea of a like a portrait essentially. This was a commission. I mean, you'll recognize it. This is my Discord profile picture right now. Like a historical painting with a nice frame essentially. That's like essentially physically leaned into the corner of the stream. Um, and last but not least, an idea that I fiddled with because I like dragons. Dragons are fucking cool. I figured possibly just have an actual like dragon. Um, and right now that's what I was actually most actively like thinking about. There's a couple of things you could be doing, or I could be doing. There's this one where it's basically mostly just a head. The bigger the head, the more expressions it can like get across. Alternatively, could be a little bit more like this. This looks very messy, but essentially just actually the dragon hanging on the side here, but the head would be a little bit smaller. So like expressions or like talking or something would be a little bit less represented. And I was just playing around with that a little bit. Right now, it's literally just this. This is what it is right now. I have the application, and on top of the application, albeit transparent, I have chat and then whatever pop-ups or like thing. Right now I have the task list here, but pop-ups on that side. Um, so yeah, that's kind of what I'm working on slash thinking about. I personally prefer streamers with a camera, but I think for some streamers, an avatar works just as well. Um, did Mark from your studies ever tell you the hilarious, stupid Benedict Cumberbatch dragon? You mean Smog from The Hobbit? Um, not entirely sure. I mean, Benedict, yeah, what about it? Wasn't it like a joke essentially that he did motion capture for it, or did he actually? I'm not sure, but feel free to like elaborate on it. Um, but yeah, that's what I'm kind of thinking about. And then of course there's these all things, but you know what? I'm gonna let you finish what you were saying before I get into that again. I have to think anyway. They did all this mocap for Smog, or whatever he's called, and he was climbing and acting like a dragon and have face captures as well, just to later realize that it doesn't work because dragons have complete different face structure and you can't translate that. But the mocap effort was real, really. And they didn't realize at any point before, I don't know, putting that much work into it. That that's kind of silly. Also, Smog is decidedly not on my list of references because Smog looks a little bit like a fish. I'm not entirely sure what. It's like I don't know how I feel about that like upturned mouth kind of thing. It's like on the right side now. But yeah. It's alright. Yeah, it's pretty silly. They didn't put a lot of thought into any of the Hobbit movies to be real. Yikes! Hot take over here. No, I'm joking. No, the Hobbit movies weren't my personal favorites either, to be fair. I think Smaug was done dirty. Um, I think the most outrageous part of that story is that you don't know Smaug. Oh boy. War starting in the comments, I can already see it. Anyway, there was another idea I had. And let me, I guess, try to sketch that out while you two get into a fight. Um, I'm gonna have to try and do this off the rip, but this brush is way too big. Yeah, I was contemplating having a kind of statue deal as well. It would be much more like human-like. Doesn't have to be like a warrior with a spear necessarily, but I was just playing around with something quick. Could also be a little bit bigger then. What's going on here? Um. Oh yeah, yeah. It was Peter Jackson. Thing is, yeah, if you go that small, then things immediately like lose detail. But the thought here could be that the statue could have different things also in its hand, depending on what the situation is, like a controller or yeah, a pencil or something. If I do like another art stream like this, would already be way too small. Like we wouldn't be able to see it unless you do like a Okay. And it could be like a different statue, essentially. Why are you doing things? Hello? Don't do that. Could be one with the controller, an easel, and this for whatever reason. Yeah. Not sure how I feel about that. Unless, of course, the statue gets like way big again, but then that also again takes up more space. And it also kind of just looks like a dude. Like, how would you even be able to tell unless it's like fully rendered, of course, which I guess in the end it would be, if it was just a dude or a statue doing things. Um, maybe not a controller, but an arcade machine. Yeah, that would be an option, but that's also kind of like secondary, I suppose. Um, I do kind of like the idea of the like space cloud nebula thing, but I myself will not be able to make that any kind of reality. Um, so that's no. Um, unless of course I hire an artist, which I probably want to in the end. But not really in my scope right now. Um, so I was maybe thinking of one of these. Now, these two are essentially the same thing. Um, they look very similar, but the difference with these right now would be more so that the actual application. In this case, it would be the browser window itself, or like a game, if I'm playing a game, which is probably most of the time, um, is like smaller and less obstructed by standard on this one. And you have to imagine the like chat thing that's here and the pop-ups. Those aren't always there, and they're not always covering stuff. Now, of course, ideally it would be good to constantly have like chat stuff going on. Um, but if we kind of zoom it in again, this is like roughly how it could look. And then let's see, let me make chat invisible, task list invisible. Then chat would be horizontal, shallow, like going across here. Wouldn't necessarily need a backdrop, though I would maybe give it one, just so chat sticks out. And then pop-ups here. Can I, hello, cursor? There you go. And then pop-ups here would again only actually occur if there's anything pop-up worthy, like ooh, person subscribed, or why are we here just to suffer? And then I could also actually change the look of the pop-ups so it would like be more thematic. Or could be like, ooh, fucking dragon's breath and then stuff. And then here the the dragon could also like open its mouth or something like that. That would be that. Um, that's quite wide for the chat, isn't it? Well, the chat would be going horizontal in that case. Um, the the chat has different versions of it. Actually, I guess if you'll humor me, I can try one right now. Um, where is it? Say something again? There you go. this is just very quickly thrown together, but then the chat would actually move horizontally as well. There you go. Now, of course, in this case, like there's some things I can like move around with that. This is literally just an example. Um, you don't know if you like that? That's totally fair. I mean, I did have the other one by standard. Let's see. Yeah, yeah. Huh. This doesn't even display everything properly. Um, what if? Where's that? We adjust some things. Oh, oh, the settings for that I have to do separately. Nope, I'm not gonna mess with that right now. Um, what if I have both active at the same time? Where is it? Two chats, let's go. I think this would better work for the donations and pop-ups. Donations. Donations? No idea. What could Flashbone possibly refer to with that? Um, okay, so not that. Anyway, the alternative option, or not the one alternative option, but the slight variation of this would that this actually that the application is bigger, but then a little bit more obscured. It has benefits and negatives to it, I suppose. But let's see. If we wanted everything on one side. Nope. Why are you still doing this? Stop it. Chat could be kind of just in front here anyway. Hmm. Could also be having its own background, so it's actually in front of stuff. Then the dragon is kind of obscured. Or I give it like a somewhat transparency. Wait. It's tricky. Nope. The moment I see things happening in chat, I'm just gotta. See. you're better off ignoring all of this, with ignoring the whatever is going on in chat right now. Maybe. Um. Oh yeah, that's a command I could add. Um, a task list. I could add a point redeem to maybe speak a different language. Wouldn't that be great? German, sure. Dutch, that's gonna get problematic. And that's the only two other alternative languages I can offer to begin with. Multilingual race. I would prefer if we didn't have a race war of any kind in my chat, honestly. Yes. Just look at examples.
Warning, you are in range of enemy artillery.
Thank you. Thank you for the artillery warning. German is just
Nothing to get
more
upset
formal,
about.
simplified Dutch.
Don't go hurling your controller at the cat, because it might throw something back and it'll only escalate, and then, oh.
See, this is okay. I don't care for the look of it, right? But like this, I feel like it's actually fairly common. Something like that. Let me actually put it all the way on top. But like, I feel like in that case, the application is already like so small. There's so little going on. Also all these like things that I don't necessarily need. Also empty space, a lot of empty space. Which I guess not every space needs to be used, but please don't. No, I'm not like considering this to be like by thing. But this is like layout wise, just simply where like the things are arranged. This is fairly common. Let me actually delete that. Now what I could do for a little bit of a more like inward look, I suppose, is I have to figure out which layer the other thing is. But I tell you, my workflow is not the best right now. but and then here could be like a one of these like banner situations. Doesn't have to be super clean anyway, but very messy. I'm not using ruler or anything, but no, I don't want you to scale. I just want to move you. Hello? And then this pop-up window. Will be like a little banner thing as well. Not sure, not sure. Hmm. I gotta head into a meeting. See you later. No worries. Thank you for checking in. And good luck with your meeting. Where did the music go? I'm also still here. I'm also German. Fair enough.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer?
Hmm. You know what I just thought of? If I have if I do have a dragon avatar, essentially, I could have this as like a emote, or and just an expression itself, even. Sketch that out. Because the proportions would have to be changed a little bit, but I guess for a meme it would be fair to just leave it. No, no, you're right, it's not. Oh, that's so stupid. I love it. Expression is exactly the same, but how do you even like? I'm no art connoisseur either, but that doesn't even look that bad to me. That bad to me. Thank you. I mean, it is just a simple like uh sketch trace kind of thing, but it's just funny. If I were to actually do it, I would like, of course, put more work into like line art and everything. But this is just already very funny to me. This would absolutely be one of my emotes. Another thing is, do I want the whole thing or do I want it like looking in like this? Mm, okay, I have an idea. I can like go over here somewhere. Nope. Nope. Oh my god. So, first of all, this animated, right? Where's this layer? Now, what I mean is, if you follow me a little bit on that one, is oh, some of these things could be so much easier, but so the idea is, where's the pop-ups? That this like scroll or banner or whatever you want to call it isn't actually just there the entire time. It like unfurls essentially, either from the center or maybe from the left, and then there's the like writing on there like, "Ooh, X person subscribed or redeemed, whatever the hell." Um, so it's not like static and just there the entire time, even with nothing filtered. And then there could be chat window like here. I like the minimalist look of just the dragon head more. Yeah, it's growing on me. I do like having a dragon, but I think this is more like expressive. And then hold up, we can move this around a little bit. Well, let me put this aside real quick. Um, a moment. I see something happening in chat. It's not clean by any means, but hey. Um, da, 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 da. Less clutter on the screen for sure. Please no. I'm not sure what the please no is referring to, but The chat is not always visible and this is constantly active, I suppose, so you can take a lot more liberty on where to place it, but the dragon head is always there. You're essentially blocking 1/5 of the screen constantly now. Wow, Twitch chat hates long messages. Yeah, that is fair. Oh, could always, of course, go the way of the application being smaller. If I want to be very strict about it, I can just do this. And then the application isn't obscured. Something like this. I could also, of course, have the chat on top of the dragon head, essentially. But then it would kind of feel boxed in, I think. I think it's probably good to give the chat a backdrop of some sort. And I don't think I can make it so that it only appears when chat is there. Right now, chat has like a black gradient, fairly subtle, but still a black gradient behind it, so it sticks out just a little bit, if anything. But that black gradient is also always there. If I just have white, then you're able to see it. And it's more applications better. I mean, what do I know? Nothing, but like more application, 100%, absolutely mandatory to give it a background. Yeah, well, I mean, we gotta like pick our battles, right? So we can either have an application that is partially obscured, or we can have an application that is smaller but then not obscured at all. That's you know, it could also like yeah, when I have no, let me no, that's not what I. Why do you want to do things that I want you to? You go minimalist, again, this is current. Right now, if I wanted to just have the dragon head, I could take the claws away essentially, but then I don't know. I'm probably gonna have a ground anyway because of the small like dudes. And this is what it is right now, essentially. If I just slapped an avatar in the corner, then this is what it would be like. And a bit strange that you cannot give the floating text a contrasting background. I'm gonna have to check. I don't know. I think I can actually. Let's see. Turn the check gradient off, and then here. There you go. Oh, whoops. That was the Automod. Yeah, you can't just put links in here. Ooh, that's violent. But real quick, let me see if I can get the Automod off of you. But no, you gotta be careful. Can I undo that? I can't undo it. Oh well. Well, now you know, I guess. I can't really undo it, but no links. It's a good baseline to not just send links. I did see it, of course, and it's fine, but that was tackled by the Automod now. You should be able to chat again. But yeah, I do have bubbles now.
Yoink.
Hmm. Well, if that's the case, that I don't have anything to do with that though. Also, Lamau indeed. Anyway, if you go back, this is what it would be like right now, I suppose. If I just do the corner thing, and then the avatar pop-ups would still be on the right. But yeah, and then there's still like a good bit of the application that's not that's sometimes obstructed. Or of course I make it smaller. I kind of like this, I think. That's good. Could, of course, make it more one-sided. And then chat, even if it's only temporarily visible whenever someone messages, would be over here. Nope, that's. Hmm. I do like the Skyrim dragons a lot. Call me old school, but um, just started playing. Just started a playthrough, and actually planning on finishing it this time. No Skyrim spoilers. No, I wasn't trying to gonna show spoilers. Ideally. But you have seen the dragons, right? Surely you've seen the dragons in Skyrim. Yes, I've seen the dragons. Good. Because there's this one actually, which I think might actually be pretty good reference by Jonah Loeb. Original model for the game. This was the first dragon ever made for Skyrim, and it took me 3 months to make. Oh wait, what? For real? Other variants, Blood Dragons, Ancient Dragons, came later and were all texture variants of this one with low poly mesh. Wait, they made a dragon? Hmm. But don't get me started on Alduin and Patunux, I think. Uh, yeah, you don't need to. It's just I like them visually. Maybe not necessarily quite this like grim looking, but see the like angle. View in VR. something like that. This is, I think, what you would have to imagine. Not the like this rendered essentially, but maybe a little bit more turned. No, that just looks weird. Getting the angle is very difficult. No. Oh God. Again, this doesn't even isn't even supposed to be like the final drawing or anything, but Uh, hi, welcome. How are you doing? I have a feeling of how you're doing, but feel free to say it anyway. I'm not even sure if you can hear me or not, but either way, welcome. I hope you're having an alright day. I've been messing around with things. Hmm. Hmm. What else? What else is there? Can make him mad. Could give him hats. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. But like, I like the idea that the hat being, like a hat wouldn't actually fit him. So that it would just be like sitting on his head essentially. There you go. Could have like a Helldiver helmet just sitting on his head, for example. Hmm. What other emotes could I maybe add? Not a very. I don't typically use a lot of emotes myself. Dragon, so fire breath, of course. Um, in what way? Right now, I'm thinking emotes as in like not stuff that the avatar could do, but emotes as in like chat stuff. So like like the stuff that I added so far with the self-expression, um, and the heart. There you go. The die heart. So those, but I can't use them. Oh, well, you can use some of them, right? Should be able to use the small self-expression and the exclamation mark. I gotta leave some for subscribers. I hope you understand. Yeah, yeah, I figured you'd understand. Also, both of you to assume I'm following you, but I guess I kind of have to now. I would kind of hope that you're following me at this point. You were, oh my God, I used to. You weren't following me yet? Damn, damn crazy. That's insane. Um, okay, so I give him a timeout. The bot already did earlier. I'm not sure if you're here for that, but the bot gave Crazy a timeout because Crazy wanted to send a link, which Automod is like, no sending links. Um, nothing like too bad, but if Automod already does its thing, can't really do anything about it. No, it wasn't self-promote, but still, links. I wouldn't. It also, yeah, it does that. If you get timed out, then it's like, you know what, whatever you sent before, you better don't. Anyway, if you're here as well, feel free to give an input on what kind of emotes or point redeems or anything I could make as well. Channel points. That's the thing. I'm not so sure still what channel points I kind of want, because they're like, ideally they're styled, right? Of course you can just have channel points or whatever you want to call them, but a lot of people have them like themed after something, and my theme so far is leaning a little bit into penultimate. So I'm not quite sure what to do with that. Um, Uh, uh, Still can't use emotes, probably because I have to reload the page. Hey Twitch, I'm not sure what's going on with that with you. Usually Twitch is very docile, I want to say. Keep on keeping on. That's I don't. It isn't like you want me to like put it in writing, like the self-expression that I have. And like this. Also, that's just. Or do you mean like a sound redeem? Oh, you meant like a sound alert. Could. Thank you. Thank you for that one. Uh, Task.
Yoink.
So still gotta adjust the prices. Why are you like cut off? What is this? No. What is it? No. Nope. Why is the chat? Oh, not the chat. The message cutting off. What's going on here? Why are the messages cutting off? Doesn't make any sense. Wow, really? I have to. Anyway. Um. What other stuff can I add? We go look at penultimate. Mm-hmm. Nope. So one. Nothing interchangeable for that yet, right? Then I'm not just traits, character sheet. Guess I could take focal points, because you do use focus for kind of everything. I could pretend that sound redeems and everything else is kind of like spells in penultimate, I suppose. Mm-hmm. One moment. I'll do something real quick. A good yoink.
Yoink.
Sound alert. There it is. Du- 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 du. How long do I want chat messages to stay on screen? Long enough to read the. Oh, that's such a non-answer. Yeah, that's ideal. And for now, do 300. So now messages are gonna stay for 300 seconds. Once I apply the changes, that is. Do I want badges to be shown on screen? And timestamp? Sure. Badges, maybe not. Pronouns, yes. Username, yes. Let me try again. Is this gonna do the thing or not?
Yoink.
Okay. Okay, cool. So at least on stream now, the bot isn't gonna throw two messages out there. Now it's just the redeem itself, and that's fine. Takes up less space. Good. And I could theoretically also get rid of the chat gradient. User is not always optimally readable, but since people can select their own colors, that's a lot more tricky to get right, I suppose. Yeah. So the white of the chat doesn't seem like it has full opacity. I mean, how often am I gonna have pure white background anyway? Could also make chat bigger if I wanted. As in like the font of it. Excuse me. It's not. Hello? Where did the opacity go? Oh. Can you give the text an outline? No, not from what I can see. Well, ideally place your text and your elements on a plain high contrast background, or where that is not possible, use prominent outlines and shadows to separate them from the background, as per the game accessibility guidelines. Well, thank you. I can't give an outline, but I can do a different font. Most readable font with outline. Comic Sans. All right, sure. TT4s. Wasn't a joke. You were genuine? All right, let's see if this thing allows me to put Comic Sans in there. No, it does not want Comic Sans. Notoriously easy to read for people with dyslexia. Maybe, but Comic Sans is not an option. Is there any standard font that has an outline? Font with outline. TT Commons. That... What do I try this? No, no, that's not outlined. I'm gonna have to see what fonts this thing has access to. I can put Papyrus. Wouldn't that be nice? It's not applied, but I have a preview of the settings. I would have to go in, for every change that I want to make, I have to actually go into the stream thing and change it or apply the changes. Heafy. Nope, it's not an option. Okay. Um, well, that one, yeah, but that's the last one I applied before that. That's not Papyrus. Or that's apparently the default it goes to when you type in something, but it doesn't know what it is. What is this font? I would love to know. I don't know what this is. Again, this is apparently what it goes to if you type in something, but it doesn't have what you type in. Papyrus did work. And if I have nothing in the space, then it's the regular font that you have seen all this time so far. This is the actual standard one. I'm gonna have to maybe check where it's getting its fonts from. I'm gonna have to be right back. Okay, I'm back. And I know what the situation is with that one now. It is that, oh god, this is a mess right now. It's a little bit cleaner for your eyes. And it is that it takes fonts. Can you do custom fonts? I was getting to that. You can use whatever font that is installed on your PC. So, of all the ones that I may have, I could use them, or if I download any other font, I can use that then. the hyperlegible fonts from the Braille Institute would be the clear winners. Do you have that as a file? And if you do have it as a file, don't put it in Twitch chat or you'll get insta like timed out again. Or is it something that's already on the PC, possibly? If it's already something that's installed on the PC, then I could just type it in and see if it works. Alright. This doesn't have this doesn't have an outline, does it? Atkinson hyperlegible. Maybe. The end user license agreement. Okay, which one is the best? There's 3 versions, apparently. Next is from 2025. Fair enough. And monospace is monospace, is it? Out of house. Nope. All right. Got that. Such a side tangent of stuff that we're getting into. If I'd stream my work, I would get in trouble with data protection law. Well, better not stream right now then. You're working on making your stream as accessible to people as you can, and you call it side tangent. Oof. Well, I mean, don't even get me started. Okay, so this does read it. I'm not entirely sure how you get to the subtype. No. Hmm. All right. Let's try to apply it. The subtypes. So like bold, hyper thin, whatever. God. Now, do you see the difference? Because this is now Atkinson hyperlegible. You should have no issues reading this. This should be the most legible text you've ever laid your eyes on in your life. Look at that. Yeah, look at it. Isn't it beautiful? One capital I, small I, and L look different. Well, I'm glad you appreciate it. I can increase the font size as well again. What I can do is font size, bubble color. I can give it a solid backdrop as well instead. Thing is, it could like as well just have a solid backdrop. Um, because like with the bubbles being that solid, um, you're not seeing much of what happens behind it. Like yeah, you can see through it, but like I feel like it just visually like is a little bit messy as well. Um, because of the like light lines in between and everything. Like, what is this? What's going on there? Anyway. Yeah, now we have hyperlegible font. Isn't that nice? Honestly, this font puts Twitch to shame. Uh, um, let me see something real quick. Now, how would I go for the subtypes? Because that's what I'm curious about. This doesn't do it. Hmm. If that even is possible, like a font face, I'm not sure. It's so beautiful. I might just install this font myself. I'm happy for you. I'm so happy for you that you like it. Yeah, that one doesn't. No. Okay. I'm really glad that you appreciate it. I think I'm gonna leave it like this for now. What I mean for now is readability. It's not. No, I don't worry. I'm not talking about changing the font again. What I was thinking of is the backdrop situation with or without bubbles or like a solid backdrop or whatever. I don't plan to change the font. Don't worry about that. Um, all right. Ooh, little cat. Little cat wants to be here as well. Oh, no, I know. White cat. Well, the that thing it's not white on gray, it's white on black, but the black is transparent, so you can see through it. So like there you go. Has opacity. Yeah, the color is as black as possible. I can make it a little bit more opaque. No, it's at 80% opacity. That should be good, right? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, well, I think we already did a lot. Um, do like this model, very nice. Good job on the guy who did it. Anyway, this is the dragon that dies in the. No, that's just a regular dragon. Um, that's just the box standard normal Skyrim dragon. Also, there's no way you didn't say that on purpose. Um, anyway, uh, I still have some other stuff to do today, sadly, at least a little bit, which I'm gonna have to deal with. I don't want to promise, but I may be back later to play some more Hades. Because I do gotta play more Hades. I gotta play more Hades because there's other games that I want to play that are coming out fairly soon. For example, Crimson Desert, I'm interested in. And another game that I've actually seen a video about earlier today, but it still doesn't have an announced release date, is The Big Walk. Big Walk or The Big Walk, I'm not entirely sure. Um, but Big Walk, I'm very excited for as well. It's going to be a cooperative thing, so I'm not going to be able to do it just by myself because that would be boring. But I do have a couple people that I have in mind that I could be playing it on stream with. Um, yeah, I mean, why do you put goo in your thing? There you go, allow. Anyway, uh, still got some stuff to take care of today. I may be on later to play some stuff. If not, latest tomorrow, I'm sure. Either way, thanks to everyone for coming in and giving your input and all that. If you're not followed already, I would appreciate a follow. If you're not in the Discord already, I would appreciate if you join the Discord. Otherwise, have a good one, and I'll talk to